Inflation is back on the rise. Check this out. Canada's inflation rate just jumped to 2.6%, which is the highest it's been since summer last year.
It is disgusting to me that we now live in a country where someone who has worked all their life can't afford food. He has to choose between rent or food, and that is not okay. It is so sad to me that this is what Canada has come to.
Hi, my name is Sasha. I'm from Langley, British Columbia, and I just paid $15 for a watermelon from Costco. Why? Because if you live in Canada, the grocery prices are outrageous.
The Daily Bread Food Bank out with some new numbers this morning, saying the number of client visits to food banks in this city has surpassed the city's population.
You guys peep this. This is how I know Canada is officially going downhill. $16.97 for deodorant. Yeah, we're finished.
If something is not done with the prices that keep going up in Canada, I will be on the street. I will be literally on the street corner next week.
I went to the Canadian Superstore today and I spent $30. Guess what I got? A pack of tortillas, 10-pack, 2 little jars of Alfredo sauce, 1 jar of raspberry jam, and a package that was on sale of fettuccine. $30. How are single income homes affording this? Why is there not more outrage?
From researchers at several Canadian universities predicts that the annual cost of food for a family of 4 will top $16,000 next year, after a year where researchers say Canadians ate less and cut corners when it came to food costs.
Okay, so with all the public outrage online, it is undeniable that Canadians have had enough. From people making bold statements like the haves don't have it anymore, Canadians from all walks of life can't seem to get a break. It seems like every Canadian has one common problem: their pockets are itchy. And no, it's not from sitting on that dirty TTC streetcar with bedbugs crawling all up in your pockets. That irritating itch we've all been feeling is that itch from inflation. Now, I already know what some of you are going to say: oh, it's a worldwide thing, it's not just Canada. And yeah, I believed that crap at one point too, until I seen all the videos of Americans, people from the UK, and even people from third world countries shaming Canadians on why they put up with the bullshit that Canadians are going through. Yes, people, I'm serious. Even people from the UK are astonished at the prices Canadians pay and why Canadians just bend over backwards for the government. Like, goddamn, no diddy. Canadians are literally out here cracking under pressure. The government has made day-to-day living standards seem like a luxury. The shelters are stacked, the food banks are full, just like the tellies and traps. No, I'm kidding. Expenses are increasing while opportunities seem to be getting scarcer by the season. In this video, we're going to react to a couple grocery store hauls by local citizens and a variety of different grocery stores. We're going to look into what non-Canadians visiting Canada think about Canada's inflation crisis. Of course, we're going to be looking into some public scrutiny from the Canadian citizens. And to top it off, we're going to check out some sickening sacrifices that day-to-day Canadians have to make just to make it by in life. After watching this video, you can decide for yourself whether you think Canada has an inflation crisis or if Canadians are just a bunch of crybabies. Okay, so speaking of crybabies, I figured we might as well start with this video right here. It's an Ontario woman crying. The caption is, "Working to be broke in Ontario. I need help. Can someone advise me?"
Everybody keeps saying it's going to get better. How is it going to get better? Our economy is so fucked that I work a full-time job. I make $21 an hour working 40 hours a week. I have no extra expenses, no bills out of my living. I have one credit card that's maxed because I've lived off of it, but other than that, I don't have cable. I haven't had cable in 10 years. We have cell phones, but, you know, that's required to live on. But other than that, nothing extra. On paper, my bills are $2,701. My income is $2,710. Do the math. $9 a month before I pay for food, gas, car repairs, any entertainment, there's no money for that. And my car is dying. It's paid for, so I don't have car payments now that I'm going to replace. And I don't know how to do that on $9 a month. $9 to feed myself, $9 to buy a car, $9 for insurance. Yeah. So at the end of the day, this is me because I worked 8.5 hours a day, knowing that it's not enough, that it won't be enough.
And this right here is a common feeling from most Canadians right now, feeling like they're on a hamster wheel. A lot of Canadians are working check to check, no matter what wage you're at, minimum wage, even if you're making a lot of money, you're working check to check to pay off your expenses. The more money you're making, it's like the more bills you have. Let's check out some of these comments. This is what everybody in Ontario voted for.
I think we're all really feeling the brunt of it.
And families brace for that burden to grow in 2024.
Tonight, a new report on food costs in this country and the expectation for some relief. Good evening. As Canadians prepare for holiday get-togethers, we're getting insight into what may be in store when it comes to the price of filling those plates.
It comes as Ottawa continues to put pressure on grocers to lower prices. CTV's Scott Lightfoot has tonight's top story.
A trip to the grocery store in 2024 will likely still cost more, as much as $700 for a family of 4.
We are actually looking at a market that is going to tighten up a little.
This video is from 2023. They're predicting it costing $700 more in 2024. Now we're in 2025, going on 2026, and inflation is still skyrocketing.
A little bit, probably midway through 2024, where we could actually see some categories becoming way more affordable for consumers.
An annual report on the food industry from researchers at several Canadian universities predicts that the annual cost of food for a family of 4 will top $16,000 next year, after a year where researchers say Canadians ate less and cut corners when it came to food costs.
2023 was an unusual year. It was extremely challenging for Canadian families. In fact, for the first time in 14 years, we noticed that people were actually spending less on food despite inflation.
The report forecasts an increase of 5 to 7% for bakery products, meats and vegetables, a 3 to 5% increase on things like restaurant food and seafood, a 1 to 3% increase on dairy and fruit, with a total increase on food prices between 2.5 and 4.5%. Not welcome news for many shoppers.
People can't eat anymore. Like, what 4% more is not going to make it any easier for us. It's going to make it even harder.
I think it's all based on greed, really. Somebody's making a lot of money. The profits that the stores are making are astronomical.
The head of Canada's largest grocery chain was among those called before MPs today to defend the prices customers are paying.
On a product like chicken drumsticks, the cost to us has risen by 30% since 2019. But the investments that we're making in lowering prices means that the average price for this product over the last 12 weeks has been 4% lower than
30% higher for chicken drumsticks. Speaking of chicken drumsticks, let's check out the Americans and the other people and what they think about Canada and its inflation.
This video is going super viral. This couple goes to Costco in Canada, and well, let's just say the price of those chicken wings is over $200. Tell me what you think of this in the comments, guys.
For anyone thinking of moving to Canada, our food prices are outrageous. Here we have a pack of drumsticks from Costco.
$200 for some chicken wings is ridiculous. It's off the...
$202 for this pack, or $224 for this one.
How many chicken? Those are chicken drumsticks, okay? They're not chicken wings, but still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So looks like there's 3 rows, about 30 drumsticks for $200. Worth it? What do you think?
Moral of the story, don't move here.
$202. I mean, you go to the grocery store now and you spend over $200 for groceries, man. But just for chicken wings, $200? I want to know what you guys think. Would you buy that if you were super hungry? On a side note, I mean, they do look well seasoned and they do look well put together. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I would spend that kind of money. If you guys want me to look further into this and see what the prices of other things are, well, you put a comment in there and I'm going to look deeper. See you on the next one.
Shopper in Toronto is outraged at the price difference between groceries in Toronto versus the US.
See this? 4 pieces, chicken thighs, $13.65. Now, compare that to this I got from the US 2 weeks ago. I think this was from Target. $3.55.
The chicken he bought in the US.
You guys, people, there's gonna be idiots that say, oh, the US dollar is worth more. The US dollar is not worth 5 times more. The Canadian chicken is literally $14 and the US chicken is literally barely $4. Even if their dollar was twice as much, it's still way more.
Converts to $4.87 Canadian, which is a whopping $8.78 difference. This is yet another example of Canadians coming across outrageous prices at their local supermarket. What are your thoughts on this?
Canada, Canada, Canada. Canadian people, I feel sorry for you. Whoever your Prime Minister is, needs to come to the front. I don't know his name, the new one, whatever. Trudeau, you too, you come here. Because what do you mean? The prices in the shops, in the supermarkets. Oh. Are you having a laugh? Are you having a bubble? Listen, I'm only here on holiday. I went to the supermarket yesterday. I got 2 items. I got 2 items. 2 items. I got a packet of crisp or chips and a tin of custard. Guess how much that cost me? Let the British people scream before I even answer. $10.33. $10.33. Do you know how much British pounds that is? That's £7 something. For a packet of crisp and a tin of custard. And it's not even British custard. It's not even imported. It was made here. Was it? I don't know. You people are suffering. I feel so... The other day, I wanted to get grapes. Why was it nearly $10 for grapes?
Bro, even in the UK, there's idiots that argue with me all the time. Oh my god, the inflation's everywhere. You're just blowing it out of proportion. Brother, now you're hearing it from the horse's mouth himself.
Grapes.
Herself.
That is £1 something, £2 something in the UK. In Marks and Spencer's. In Lidl and Aldi, it's even less. And I was about to spend nearly $10. The way I put that back, quick, fast, and in a hurry. If the Canadians decide to revolt, I'm with them. I'll be supporting them from afar, but I'll be supporting. Because what is this?
Bro, Canadians are not serious, bro. Canadians are slow. I'll be honest with you. Canadians are slow.
If something is not done with the prices that keep going up in Canada, I will be on the street. I will be literally on the street corner next week, panhandling, asking for some change. It's comical how our wages aren't going up, but the price of everything around us skyrocketing. And it's not near as bad in America as it is in Canada. It's 1,000% worse in Canada. Every aspect, we can't catch a break. Groceries are now like triple the price. I just saw a video on TikTok and this girl was like, isn't this expensive for what this is?
Alright guys, I'm an American. I'm in Canada right now. And I want to go over how bad it is here. I'm at the Walmart, and y'all should see the prices. All right, let's start with strawberries. Look at this. Yeah. Now let's go to the apples. How bad could it be? It doesn't stop there. All right, let's go to bananas. Let's see how bad bananas are, right? Let's walk over here and see. What about oranges? Oranges can't be that bad, right? Let's go over here and see. No, I would say pretty bad. And for those of you who are going to be like, oh, it's because there's a difference in the money. No, there's not, because I've already done some of the math on this. Like, let me give you an example here, okay? For the chicken, right? Do the conversion you want. Like, it's $1 something more than it would be back in Texas where I'm from. It's like $1.50 or 60 more for a rotisserie chicken. All right, let's look at some of these prices. I don't know how bad these are. I don't buy this stuff, but let's see. $2.97. Okra is $5. Asparagus is $7. Cabbage $1.27. All right, now let's look at some of the meats like the chicken and stuff like that.
Bro, you want to eat healthy in Canada, you have to be rich. Like, you have to be rich.
$20 is insane. Let's go over here. This small pack, $2.24. Let's move here, $14, just so y'all.
Bro, it's $12, $15 for four. Look at this, $14 for 5 chicken breasts. I remember like 6 years ago, it was like $8 for 5 chicken breasts.
You can see this too. They say buy Canadian, right? Absolutely insane. All right, now let's look at some ground beef. Don't fall for the bullshit you're hearing that it's just the money difference or whatever, bro. It is expensive as fuck over here.
Canadian tipping culture is a master class in gaslighting. If you go to any food establishment in Canada to either dine in, take out, or get delivery, you're expected to tip somewhere between 18 and 20%. Why? Because the waitstaff relies on those tips to earn a living wage, which in itself is just crazy. Why aren't they just paid a living wage to begin with? But let's just put that to the side for 1 second. Then you go to the waitstaff and you ask them, hey, do you get the tips that I pay you? And in many cases, the answer is no. The tip goes into a pool and is shared with the other people who work at the restaurant, so the back of the house, chefs, dishwashers and such, because they also rely on your tips for a living wage. This causes all sorts of bizarre situations. I talked to one friend of mine who works for a restaurant, and he said he tries to get specific shifts because the people who work front of the house on those shifts get more tip. And that means he gets more pay if the right people are working front of the house. So there's actually a competition in the restaurant where who gets to work what shifts so that they get more pay, which is bonkers. These people work in the service industry. They have to deal with difficult people like me all the time. That is a difficult job. They should get paid accordingly. They should not have to rely on the right person working in the front of the house for them to get a fair wage. And then the immediate response you get to this is, well, the obvious problem here is that they're not being paid a living wage, and that needs to change, right? If you're running a business that is only successful as long as you underpay your workers, then your business is subsidized by your employees. That is borderline worker exploitation. But this problem is far bigger than that. And I don't blame restaurant owners and bar owners for this. If you go talk to business owners and ask them, why don't you pay a living wage? They will say, well, then we'd have to raise prices and customers won't like that. And then you go ask the customers, what do you think about this mandatory 18 to 20 tip thing that's going on? They say, I'd rather see the price go up. But if the price goes up, then you get like the price going up, which looks like inflation, and then people get all panicky about that. And if you go to the politicians and ask, hey, why don't you legislate this? Why don't you just make them pay a living wage and then do something about the tipping? They say the business owners don't want it. But I think it's actually the special interest groups that the business owners belong to that don't want it. Then if you go back to the waitstaff and ask, what do you think? A lot of them will tell you, well, it's kind of an incentive to do good work, right? If you do good work, you get better tips. Except everyone is expected to pay 18 to 20%, so that's just not the case. So everyone is gaslighting everyone else here. No one wants this tipping culture, and everyone thinks everyone else is to blame for it. So we just go around in a circle.
One big hamster wheel. You know what I mean? Speaking of restaurants, let's check out the restaurants. Are they inflated? Let's find out.
Restaurants and fast food places have lost their minds. Absolutely crazy. This is my total from the Papa John's app yesterday when I was trying to order for our family a single large pizza, 3 toppings, a single cheese pizza, medium, just cheese, breadsticks, and a 16 count of wings. This is before tip, guys. $98.86. Are you kidding? Like, how do they expect us to live with these prices? This is insanity. Little Caesars, $6. Ready to go. Just go grab 2 of them right there. Walk in and be like, hey, I need a couple hot and ready. Oh, we got a pepperoni and a sausage. Take them, thanks. Not as good as Papa John's. $12. Look at this. You can't get anything anymore for a reasonable price. I'm only going out to eat at local places now. We got a bowling alley down the street from our house. It's got a diner on.
A shocking number of Canadians say they've stopped eating out at restaurants. The latest MNP Consumer Debt Index conducted by Ipsos found that nearly 3 in 10 Canadians surveyed resorted to eating less to save money. And Canadians think twice before going out to eat, as 44% of people said they no longer eat in restaurants altogether or said they no longer get takeout.
Bro, they're breaking your pockets when you go in there. They want 18% tip. Shrinkflation. So the food sizes are even smaller. Come on, let's look at some videos about shrinkflation.
This is what $20 worth of groceries looks like in Canada. I just had $20. This is for my dinner tonight, for me and my dog. All I got, I had a $20 bill, right? I got 2 blocks of cheese and a bag of Nerds gummies for 20 bucks back in my day.
Okay, bro, I understand inflation is real and everything, brother, but this guy right here, he's clearly just stoned out of his mind. He's clearly just stoned out of his mind. Like, who are you kidding, bro? Who buys 2 blocks of cheese and some gummies? Like, what are we gonna make? You're gonna take the 2 blocks of cheese, put the gummies in the middle, slap them together, and just make a sandwich, bro?
Canadians are calling out a popular brand of pasta sauce for another case of shrinkflation.
Went shopping for some sauce.
Yo, fam, I was just talking about this the other day with somebody, bro. This is the pasta sauce. I was literally just eating pasta today. Like, what do you know about classical pasta? I can't let it have the fire pasta sauce. Yo.
The pasta sauce for another case of shrinkflation.
Went shopping for some sauce recently and thought, oh look, Classico changed their labels. That's so nice. Nope, it's shrinkflation. $6.50. $600.
The Ontario-based TikToker in Guelph posted the video showing that Classico is now selling their pasta sauce for the same price, but you get 50 milliliters less, and this is far from the first case of shrinkflation we've seen in Canada. Canadians are calling out a popular brand of pasta.
Listen, Classico, I want my 50 grams. I want my 50 grams. You can't just take 50 grams out of the, or 50 milliliters out of the thing and just run off with it like that. You know what I mean? You can't just pinch it in the streets. In the streets, you know what happens if you do that?
People are losing it over an old flyer showing how cheap groceries were only a few years ago. This flyer from Food Basics is from 2020, and some notable prices on here include the 2 for $5 bags of chips and the 11-pound watermelon for only $2.88. And this flyer is from 2009, where basically everything is on sale for 99 cents.
Right, I remember back in the day, the grocery store was like the dollar. It was better than the dollar store. You go there, you're getting the candies for like, bro, you're getting everything in bulk for super cheap. You know what I mean? I remember back, holy, that's one thing. Back in the day, there was a lot of people in the hood with fridges full of food. I remember that. There's bare snacks. You're getting like 4 boxes of Fruitopia. You know what I mean?
Loblaw has started an investigation after a viral TikTok showed a whopping disparity between the advertised weight and the actual weight of a bag of chips. The advertised net weight labeling on a no-name bag is 200 grams, but TikToker and unofficial investigative journalist Scrunchy Queen discovered that the bag actually weighed closer to 100 grams. Unlike this bag of chips, the TikTok comments are packed, and many people think the Canadian Food Inspection Agency should step up and issue a fine.
Bro, you guys think this is a joke? Like, bro, in the streets, you can't just take 100 grams out of a 200 grams bag. Like, what the hell? Yo, that's so crazy, bro. That's so crazy. You guys are wild. You guys are really wild for that still. You know what I mean? You guys need to get sued for every penny. Toronto just declared a food insecurity emergency.
Amid a historic hunger crisis in which more than 1 in 10 Torontonians now rely on food banks, City Council has declared food insecurity an emergency across Toronto. Now, here to discuss more is CEO of the Daily Bread Food Bank, Neil Hetherington. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I appreciate it.
It's good to be here.
I guess just to start, what does this declaration mean for the food bank, both in the short term and the long term?
Well, I think it's an outward expression that we have a serious crisis, and that our city council is worried about that, and worried about the 1 in 10 Torontonians who now have to rely on the Daily Bread Food Bank in order to get by, and it never.
1 in 10 Canadians. 1 in 10 Canadians. So that means on your way to work, on your way to wherever you're going, 1 in 10 people go to the food bank. I think 1 in 4 Canadians.
It used to be this way. It just, we've always sort of had Toronto the good. And now we have a situation where in our city, 1 in 10 Torontonians. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. And we know there are policy solutions to it. And so it allows us to be able to have greater conversations about those solutions and move forward with them.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people in the city might be wondering, how do we ensure a declaration like this isn't just words? What tangible action can it lead to?
Yeah, so as the mayor made that announcement, at the same time, she talked about a student nutrition program. And so she said, we're going to get to a universal student nutrition program, just like the other countries in the G7. And so that was one outward action she could take. But we're in an election cycle provincially, and we can debate all we want about whether or not calling an early election is good, or we can use this as an opportunity to stimulate a conversation about getting folks who are on disability to at least an opportunity where they can thrive in community. Right now, if you're on disability, you receive about $1,300 a month, and so you have to rely on a food bank in order to get by. We can stimulate a conversation about affordable housing, and yes, 14,000 houses were built, rental houses were built in the past year, but at the same time, hundreds of thousands were needed. And so let's have those conversations, but much more importantly, let's start to take some.
I hate when they think the solution of people starving is building housing. You're building houses people can't even afford to live in, bro. You know what I mean? I just seen some stats today. Condos are at an all-time low of being bought. You know what I mean? Like, real estate's at an all-time low. Everything's at an all-time low, bro, because everything's inflated. Everything's the most expensive it could ever be.
Action.
Yeah, $1,300 a month. No one can survive on that. You mentioned the provincial election cycle. We're also possibly looking ahead to a federal election this spring. I guess what would what would your message be to both the provincial candidates and those who will be vying to lead Canada?
There are 8.6 million Canadians who are food insecure. So their right to food is not being realized. So let's just make sure that people's rights are being realized. And so at the federal level, I want to see the Canada Disability Benefit come into full force. I want to make sure that it's not $200 per month, but rather the $1,000 that is expected for each person who is on a disability plan. And at the provincial level, if you get decent housing built, then you don't need food banks. And so let's make sure that we get our national and our provincial housing strategies in play. And then at a local level, how do we make...
Like I said, it's not just housing, it's opportunities, it's jobs, it's you know what I mean? It's a means to an end. You have to have money to pay for your house at the end of the day. A lot of people are all going homeless right now. They don't have money to pay for a house. So you're building houses. Who are we going to give them to?
Make sure that we stimulate
the immigrants,
the economy, by making sure that we're free of red tape and we can build more quickly.
The last time we spoke was in December, when the Daily Bread Food Bank was in the midst of a fundraising push. How did that go? And what's the new year been like for the food bank?
Well, it's been really rather difficult. It took 38 years for us to get to serve 1 million clients in a single year, and then only 3 years to the point where we served just under 4 million clients. So the growth has been just substantive. We've had to go from raising $8 million a year to $40 million a year. And so it's been a real challenge. I am hopeful that as people start to get their rebate, that they will consider the Daily Bread Food Bank. There's a lot of people who don't need that food bank, and we know a lot of people who who do need those checks. And so that's our hope, is that people will, perhaps donate this January their rebate check to the Daily Bread.
Yeah, of course, those rebate checks, the $200 checks that the Ford government is sending to every taxpayer. I guess, if you have the means to help out the food bank, what other support are you looking for?
Well, I think the big thing is making sure that we're advocating for change. It's one thing to make sure we feed that need now. It's another to be able to talk about the systemic causes of food bank usage. And
the systemic causes are the system. The system is what's causing this shit, bro. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say it every time, the government is not prioritizing the people. You know what I mean? Check this out right here. Hold up. I had a viral TikTok. Cause Canada acts like they don't have money to fund the people. If the Canadian government really wanted everybody to live nice, they could be living nice. Every other day they're giving money to Ukraine, Bangladesh, this place, that place. Today I just heard they're giving 80 million to Haiti. I don't know what type of voodoo magic the Haitian brothers put on them, but hey, god damn it.
Fam, I keep telling you guys, the Canadian government
this was very controversial right here.
Does not prioritize the people. They look at us all like we're some peons. Ask me how I know this. Canada airdrops over 21,600 pounds of food in Gaza. Fam, there's people starving in Canada. I'm not saying Gaza doesn't deserve the food. I'm sure there's war going on, this and that. But brother, there's people starving in your front lawn and you're looking over them and sending care packages. Why are Canadians' food banks collapsing? Make it make sense. The Ottawa Food Banks is starving for supplies and scrambling to meet skyrocketing demands. It's the same story for community food programs all across the country. So you're telling me Canadian food banks are out here scrambling and scraping like a Diddy victim while the government sends boatloads and boatloads of goods and services across the border? Why? Make it make sense.
Is that about 1 in 5 Canadians today are food insecure. And scurvy, the thing pirates used to get hundreds of years ago? Yeah, that's making a comeback in Canada. Enough where the Canadian Medical Association felt they needed to issue a warning for doctors to be on the lookout for signs of scurvy in their patients.
So you're telling me 1 in 5 Canadians could barely afford food, and the food they can't afford is garbage food like Timmy's, so now they're getting diarrhea, donuts, and catching scurvy, some old pirate disease from back in the day I used to read in geography class in grade 2, brother. You know what I mean? And you want to send boatloads of food to somewhere else, brother? Oh, I can't make this up, brother. You know what I mean? But hey, don't shoot the messenger. If you watch the whole video, that means...
See what I'm saying? Check the comments. Never seen someone die from hunger in Canada. People are so stupid. Trust me, we don't need it as bad as they do. I reacted to that guy's comment too, but... So Canadians, leave it in the comments. Do you think we need our resources as bad as other people need our resources? Because other people are giving our resources away, you know what I mean?
Trust me, we don't need it as much as they do. Oh, brother, this is what I can't stand about Canadians, brother. It's not about who needs it more than the other person, brother. We need our resources at the end of the day. And this is why the whole world looks at Canadians like we're a bunch of dyslexic dipsticks, brother. You will never see an American go against anything that is pro-American, brother. But there's fam, it's people like you living up to the stereotype. Do you know there's a stereotype that Canadians are completely irresponsible with their resources and we're complete idiots? Do you know that? And the economy is failing and it's proven to be true.
See how that matters here? Look, we don't have enough cash to fix the car. We're kind of on our way to the North Pole. Oh, a car won't take you there anyway. But if you like, you can take my snowmobile.
Fam, this is you. This is Canadians like you, brother.
Oh, sure, that's what Canadian hospitality is all about. If you like, you can have all my money and my leg.
Fam, why can't Canadians be pro-Canadian? This shit makes me sick to my stomach, fam. I won't even lie to you. When will Canadians wake up and realize, brother, we don't have the resources to be giving it away, fam. We need to build up our country and make our country great. People are not getting married anymore. People are not having kids. Everything is inflated. How about we fix our own economy before we worry about anybody else's, you know what I mean? Pick a struggle. Fam, no matter how much someone's struggling, you don't take care of someone's kids more than you take care of your own kids, right? But I think a lot of Canadians have this self-hate about themselves where they'll take care of other people before they take care of other Canadians. We're supposed to make Canada the best country. If you're a pro-Canadian, you want Canada to be the best country before anything else. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going to keep pocket watching these politicians, and every penny they give away that's not to Canadians in Canada's favor until this economy is at the top of the heights of it's ever been, I'm going to speak on it. You know what I mean? They can give $1 billion to Jamaica. I'm going to speak on it, brother. Trust me, we don't...
You see what I'm saying? What do you think? Do you think I'm overreacting? Do you think Canadians we don't need our resources? Is that what it is? Is that because I feel like that's how the government feels about us, and that's clearly how the government is treating us. You know what I mean? Let me read some of these comments. You should run for Prime Minister. I would vote for you. When we talk about these things, people look at us like we're weird, bro. Keep doing God's work. You got my follow. But those kids are in the middle of war. Yeah, I know those kids are in the middle of war. But it would be better if you said, listen, okay, instead of giving 80 million overseas, how about you give 40 million overseas? Say you give 40 million overseas, and then you put the other 40 million to Canadian. Every time you send money overseas, it should be matched and put into something Canadian. How about that? At the least.
Are we okay? Because I just got back from the grocery store, and normally what I do is I have 3 hot meals planned out in my mind that I'm gonna make and eat for the week. And of course, like fruit sprinkled in there and snacks. And I went in, and all of the meat protein that I planned on buying was going to be expired or no good as of tomorrow. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm not getting meat today. And I walked out of there with just enough groceries to cover breakfast for the week. And it was $94, and I still have to go to another store to grab steak and chicken so that I have my meat proteins. And it just has me wondering, like, how are those of you with kids doing this? Like, how are you doing? And if you make less than 80 grand a year, how are you doing it? I need to know.
You see what I'm saying? People are shocked. Single people are wondering. This is why people are not having kids, and they're staying single at a high rate, because they don't understand how it's even physically possible for people to have kids and not be dumpster diving out here. You know what I mean? We put this video right here. How this single family of 4 spends less than $700 a month on groceries and gas.
Here at the Kosh household, if they can make it at home, they will.
Once in a while we cheat on bread, because bread is a lot of work to bake, but in general, muffins, scones, cookies, everything is all from scratch.
With a family of 7 and only 1 income, cooking at home is one way to save money. Being smart at the grocery store is another.
Having as many kids as we've had, we...
Look at the bags under this guy's eyes. Look at the bags under his eyes. You know what that is? He's at home calculating, spending so much time calculating, trying to figure out how to save $1, that he's missing out on time where he could be making dollars. So he thinks he's ahead of the game. He doesn't realize he's pushing himself to insanity. You know what I mean? He doesn't realize he's pushing himself to insanity. He's over here trying to save every dollar. But at the same time, you have bills to pay. You know what I mean? There's only so much you could save. You have to go make something, right?
As we've had to always try to make sure that we're doing the most cost-efficient grocery shopping we could.
According to a report by Dalhousie University, the average family of 4 is expected to spend nearly $17,000 on groceries in 2025. The Kosh family estimates they spend approximately $700 a month on groceries and gas. That's a total of $8,400 a year for the family of 7.
I think just having a base budget, this is how much I'm willing to spend on groceries, is a good idea, because then, you know, you've got a number to kind of stick to.
Before they head to the store, they plan. Using the app Flip, they look at which store has the best deals. They also consider if they can collect points.
And over the last 10 years,
I can't make this shit up, bro. They have literally a binder, a calculator. They're doing all this math. Brother, getting an affordable meal out here is like doing a freaking EQAO test back in, like, I don't even know what to say, bro.
We have $11,000 in points that we've spent and got money, like groceries and gas and things with.
They also pay close attention to the fine print, particularly the price per unit for each item.
And
that's what I need to start doing too. I need to start getting my points at these stores, bro. You know what I mean? Because I be going to these grocery stores every other day and I'm not collecting these goddamn points, you know what I mean? Well, I know I could have got at least $2,000 in points worth of groceries now at this point, you know what I mean? Damn it.
You can really figure out what is the best value.
For the most part, what will be bought is decided before they head out of the door.
Impulse buying is probably the worst.
Home economist Jody Kashkar says one way to reduce that impulse is to shop online.
I'm buying the things and I'm looking at the choices online, but I'm not hitting the
potato chip aisle. Or
Chad Kosh wishes his family didn't have to budget this seriously.
We just like to be able to go to the store and pick things up and afford them without having to have all that pre-planning, you know.
But with the price of food expected to grow, he says it's just what they have to do. Nav Sanga, CTV News, Edmonton.
How are people doing it in Vancouver these days? Like, I honestly want to know. Because I just went grocery shopping and then I just went furniture shopping to browse around. I'm barely making it. I don't know how everybody else is making it.
Today on What the Fuck Canada Walmart edition. Y'all out here paying $12.59 for a card? What the fuck? Here's a simple one. $7.79. What the fuck? $1 cheaper than Superstore? Still a what the fuck? $7 for no-name bacon. What the fuck? On sale at Walmart for $2, no limit, usually $3. $3 is still what the fuck. $15.97 at Walmart. It's a little bit cheaper than Superstore. $8 for this brand, I'll take it. $8 for spinach, what the fuck. All the food on clearance because nobody can afford anything. And a huge what the fuck when Kraft Dinner is the exact same price as Annie's.
No surprise if you're a grocery shopper in your household that the cost of groceries continue to go up. So I've been talking with grocery experts, industry analysts who are watching this and looking at the government data just as we are. And they say there's three main factors for what's happening to your groceries and why you're paying more at the checkout. It's labor costs.
Fam, I feel like Canadians are just in some type of science test or some type of, you know what I mean? They're doing some type of test on us to see how much they could just take from us and take from us and take from us before we start to riot. You know what I mean?
It's tariffs and it's climate. In fact, if you take a look at coffee prices overall, coffee, for example, up 20% compared to a year ago, up more than 20%, in fact. And we're also seeing this across imported produce and other places. And so I wanted to know, okay, what happens next? Does it get better? Does it get worse? Does it stay the same? When can we expect prices to stabilize? And experts say, so long as there's a labor shortage and tariffs stay in play, you can expect your grocery bill to continue to get a bit more expensive.
Nobody knows when this shit will stop. The government can't tell us when it will stop because the government doesn't plan on cutting back, bro.
What the fuck Canada Safeway. $6 for blackberries. $8
$6 for some goddamn blackberries. Who the hell's paying $6 for some goddamn blackberries?
$2.49 for one cucumber. Like, even canned fruit is crazy. Peaches, $6 for canned peaches. $4.49. What the fuck? Triscuits, they're on sale, but usually $4.29. What the fuck? $9 for a pound of hamburger meat. What the fuck? Almost $20 for this ham. What the fuck? Save $3. You can wipe your ass with 8 rolls for $21. $16 for Purex. What the fuck? $12 for 2 rolls of paper towel. $8 for Greek yogurt. What the fuck? On sale, but usually $7 for a taco kit. It's crazy. And one more what the fuck, because I can't live without mayonnaise. $8.
Somebody please tell me how the hell this small amount of stuff just came to $218. How? Somebody tell me. This was literally 3 bags of groceries. 3 bags. $218? Like, are you joking? Guys, this is not okay anymore. Like, we have a serious fucking problem here in Canada. Like, why? Why is this happening? This isn't even gonna last, not even 5 days. $200, $220, not even 4 to 5 days that's gonna last. And that's only for 2 people. Like, this is not. We need help in Canada. Hello, somebody, the government, whoever the fuck is trying to fuck us in the asshole. Hello.
guys peep this. This is how I know Canada is officially going downhill. $16.97 for deodorant.
$16.97 for some Old Spice deodorant. $16.97 for some goddamn deodorant. I can't make this shit up, bro. $16.97 for some deodorant, and you wonder why motherfuckers stink on the subway. You wonder why motherfuckers stink. Yeah, bro. Canada's a setup, bro. It's a simulation, bro.
Hi, my name's Sasha. I'm from Langley, British Columbia, and I just paid $15 for a watermelon from Costco. Why? Because if you live in Canada, the grocery prices are outrageous, and also because I have 3 kids and they love watermelon, so it is what it is.
3 kids and they love watermelon? You must have some light-skinned kids, some little light-skinned curly-head kids, eh? I love me some watermelon, babes.
Okay, seriously, what the fuck is going on in Canada right now? I went grocery shopping today. Nothing wild. This wasn't even a big grocery run. Milk, some fruit, a few snacks for my son. Paper towel, cereal, no meat, no dinner stuff, no big haul. Tell me why that shit came out to $247 and 88 cents for snacks. How are people supposed to live like that? And yeah, I probably didn't need the extra bag of chips for myself, but also, fuck it. We all deserve one tiny moment of joy before we go bankrupt from grapes. I'm seriously contemplating hiding the snacks in my bedroom and handing the snacks out like they're controlled substances. One granola bar at a time. You want a juice box? Gotta do a chore. Real talk though, how's everyone surviving this? What job pays you enough not to panic at the grocery store? All I know is that I'm beyond grateful for finding something else. I work 2 hours a day from my phone, and I average $900 a day. No team, no selling, no bullshit. If you're stressed and tired of this financial anxiety, message me or comment down below. I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Because this version of life, it's not sustainable. And honestly, I'm done pretending it is.
What the fuck, Canada Superstore round 2. $9 for these oranges. These used to be like $5.99. What the fuck? $10 for some rotting apples. What the fuck? So delicious. Holy shit. What the fuck? $7.49 for 125 grams of salami. What the fuck? Clearance price for $16. What the fuck? Save 30 cents. What the fuck?
Holy shit.
I went to the Canadian Superstore today and I spent $30. Guess what I got? A pack of tortillas, 10-pack, 2 little jars of Alfredo sauce, 1 jar of raspberry jam, and a package that was on sale of fettuccine. $30. How are single income homes affording this? Why is there not more outrage? $7.90 something. Absolute insanity. And then everyone wants to justify the increase in income tax, property tax. Like, it's becoming absolutely unaffordable. Even the haves don't have anymore. Why work extra hard when everything becomes even more unaffordable? Why is there not as much outrage as there should be? I'm perplexed. How are we okay with this? I went to the...
Bro, Canadians are pushovers, bro. I already told you. That's the only way to look at it, bro. Canadians have been getting taken advantage of and just been bending over and taking it. No diddy, but shit. It is what it is. So let's check out some alternatives. We're gonna check out some alternatives of what Canadians have been doing. You know what I mean? To get by.
I don't want to die, but I don't want to be homeless either. That's even worse.
If you haven't seen that video, I would strongly recommend going and taking a look. She's talking about a news segment that she saw where a man who's in chronic pain and is on ODSP cannot afford to find somewhere to live with the amount that he's getting. So instead, he has signed up for MAID, which is medically assisted death. It bothers me so much because as a realtor, I have seen people come with ODSP. I have seen single mothers come with Ontario Works and cannot afford to find something for them and their children to live in. I don't understand how we have money to fund wars and how we have money to fund Justin Trudeau's private jets, but we cannot afford to put our own citizens in affordable living.
Bro, the government does not care about the people. I keep telling you, they're not prioritizing the people, bro. You know what I mean? Man's out here trying to off themselves. Man's are trying to go to the doctor and off themselves because the living standard is so bad. I can't make this shit up, bro.
Canadians all over the country are stealing overpriced food items from grocery stores with no remorse in response to the rising food prices and corporate greed. It's estimated that an average sized grocery store can have between $2,000 and $5,000 worth of groceries stolen per week, leading to higher prices for all customers.
And what do? Do you think they're gonna lower the grocery prices? Nope. They're gonna higher the grocery prices and hire some security. You know what I mean? The last thing these people want to do is help the citizens save money. God forbid.
Grocery theft has always been a major problem for the industry, but it's now worse than ever before after more than a year of price hikes due to inflation.
People have started converting the bus shelters to makeshift homes now in Toronto. This is how bad the housing crisis has gotten. This is what is happening now. People are using these bus shelters as their homes. And what does the government do about this? They say they're investing $13 billion to build homes. $13 billion. To only build you 4,000 homes, which means each one of these homes costs $3.25 million.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Why are you guys talking about, oh, we're gonna build homes? Because people are starving. If people are starving, they can't afford homes, you goddamn idiots, bro. They need to make me prime minister, bro. Fuck these idiots, bro.
And they wonder why we have such a big homeless problem in this country. They wonder why we have 2 million people that are relying on food banks. They wonder why we have 200,000 people that are homeless in this country. Don't forget about doing the rational thing like tampering down on this mass immigration when we can't obviously house the people in this country, Canadian citizens, in the first place. Let's continue to bring them in addition to all the strain and destruction it's putting with our healthcare system, our infrastructure, with our economy, unemployment through the roof. Forget about all that. And seriously, 4,000 homes? You guys are bringing in this liberal government. Millions of people have been brought into this country. They think 4,000 homes is going to solve the issue. 4,000 homes that also cost $3.25 million when the average Canadian household makes like $90,000.
Bro, they're scamming you right in front of your eyes and you don't even know what's going on.
आ गया हूँ यहाँ पे फ्री फूड इन कनाडा क्योंकि कनाडा के अंदर आपको अगर आप स्टूडेंट हो तो फ्री फूड आपको प्रोवाइड किया जाता है तो मैंने कुछ दिन पहले रजिस्टर्ड किया था.
Look at this. This is not like this guy got exposed for stealing from food banks basically. You know what I mean? Look, the immigrants are coming here too and they're taking advantage of the food bank system. I'm not saying when they move here they don't need it, right? Because they definitely do, but if all these immigrants are coming here and they're not getting jobs right away, so they're gonna need the food bank. How are the people who are here and already starving gonna get to the food banks? Make it make sense, bro.
स्टूडेंट और उनका मेल आया था कि आप लेने आ जाओ तो ये सारी चीजें मुझे उन लोगों ने दी है यहाँ पे फ्री फूड इन कनाडा में. सो मैं आपको इन डिटेल बताता हूँ कि इसके अंदर सब क्या क्या है. सो ये है 1 kg आटा, सो ये है 1 kg राइस, 1 किलो दाल, और ये 3 चाय का है, और ये 2 लाइफ बॉय सोप, और ये है शैम्पू डॉग, और ये हेयर वैक्स है, और ये भी ऑयल एंड शैम्पू.
So this is how they do it. They openly advertise that they get free food in Canada. You have to understand that people from third world countries, and I'm speaking myself as someone from a third world country, this is their mentality. They see this as free food, not for people in need, but they just simply see it as free food. Now, I remember a video that this guy made last year where he was talking about how he's able to just get free food, and he was openly advertising for it just like that guy was. And rightfully so, food banks started excluding first-year international students because part of the reason of why they were able to get into the country and they were able to be international students because they had to show proof of income, proof that they can actually house themselves, feed themselves, and sustain themselves as an international student in Canada. And this was a Vancouver-based food bank. And Brampton also had a food bank that started turning away some of these students. And my question to you is this: what obligation as Canadian citizens do we have to feed international students first year, second year, third year if they cannot afford to be here? despite showing income to us that must be fraudulent if they can't afford food, which I also doubt, but let's assume some can. Why do they have a student visa? Why aren't these food banks reserved for Canadians? What moral obligation is there for international students, especially given the fact that 50,000 international students are just missing? They did not show up to the first day of class. This madness needs to end.
Yeah, bro, I think I'm gonna leave it there, bro. You guys been watching me for like, what, 55 minutes now? I'm gonna trim this video down. It's probably gonna be like 50 minutes maybe. You know what I mean? I hope you guys got a better look into the inflation crisis that's going on in Canada. You know what I mean? Make sure you guys like, you know what I mean? You guys subscribe. Comment under there. Do you think I'm tripping? Do you think Canada is great? And you know what I mean? It's a great country to be in. And you know what I mean? We should all just be happy and continue to just enjoy how we've been living and continue in the same direction. You know what I mean? Or do you think we need some change? Some change in the government or some change in the people to fight for their rights more, whatever it takes, you know what I mean? But like I said, bro, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, bro. I'm off of this, bro.